Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Going to wrap up today's show, spending some time with Dan Shedd. But before I do that, I'm going to talk about the fact that this show is brought to you in part by our friends at Krasny Law Firm and Chris Kidd Enterprises. So Dan Shedd, he's working with us here. He's working with our program, a recent college grad, and we bring him on just about every day just to talk about his own unique stories that he finds for us. Weird, quirky, sometimes relevant, but not usually. But today's kind of an interesting topic. And then I force my producer, who is usually Sigmund, but today is Marsha Lambeth, to come in and chime in as well. But what's your topic for us today, Dan Shedd?
Well, I ran across an article the other day in the Chronicle about how there are already 1 billion websites on the internet, and it's continuing to grow. And it's just a real interesting article about how the internet was started and just the growth of, the internet to where it is today. So it's just a real interesting article. For those of you who don't know, Tim Berners-Lee, who is a British physicist, created the first website in August of 1991. So, and at that time, and then a year later, there was only 10 websites. So it's grown considerably since then. And in case you're interested to go about how many websites there are currently, go to internetlivestats.com. It has a live counter of all the internet users, total number of websites, and emails, and other things. So
is that 2 trillion? No, 2 billion.
2
billion. 2 trillion. Wait a minute. There's not that many people. 2 billion. Almost 3 billion
websites?
Users. Yes. Is that right? Users?
Internet users, yes.
Yeah. And how many websites? 1 billion?
1 billion.
So those 3 users, 1/3 of those users made one website, or a bunch of that within a group made several websites or something like that. I personally am connected with 4 or 5. So, there's probably a bunch like me, that have created several.
You're a prolific website
I am
creator.
prolific and ADD. And so between the two, I make lots of websites. So, yeah, it has a certain McDonald's over 1 billion served quality to it. It's kind of cool. I also thought of Carl Sagan's, millions and millions and billions and trillions. In fact, I played that audio clip for Dan, and he looked like he was getting nervous or something. What was it about that made you uncomfortable?
I don't know, just the repetitiveness of it. I don't know. It's a very interesting series. I actually watched the so-called reboot of the Cosmos, and it was very interesting to me. And I think everybody should watch that.
I always preferred Cosmopolitan magazine. And Cosmo Knows All, where they had those pictures of hot women. I remember when I was a little kid, looking in the drugstore at the Cosmos magazine because the even less appropriate ones were too high to reach. But if you like, some like the Carl Sagan's approach to Cosmos. I don't know. What about you? Which one did you prefer?
I like the pretty pictures, but I didn't believe anything that they said, so I had a real hard time with that. I love the new version of the show. Not much on the magazine Cosmopolitan, though. So I don't look at it either. They have to keep banging this whole, that there's no creationism. They just keep banging that drum.
Yeah, they're very religious in their lack of belief.
Exactly.
But you see, not believing is a faith system.
That's true.
Not believing, because none of us were there. It requires faith not to believe just as much as it requires faith to believe.
Fascinating what they tell, though, in the pictures.
Dan doesn't believe me.
The videos they go and
that
find.
Look that Dan has is very cynical, but I believe it. I have no doubt that I'm created, and I know who did the creating.
You don't believe.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And frankly, I think not believing requires more faith than believing.
Yeah, because you're a smaller part of the population.
Well, no, because look what I'm looking at. Where did this come? Look at the laws of thermodynamics. The laws of thermodynamics says something can't come from nowhere.
Exactly.
It requires an external force to make it happen. Not evolution, but
This is not all chance.
The idea of an intelligent design not existing just defies the laws of thermodynamics. So anyway, I don't know how this became an evolution discussion. Any final thoughts before we let you go, Dan?
No, not really, but it's just interesting to see, like I said, how fast the internet is growing. It's faster than any of us could probably imagine. And
how weird our conversations can meander from one point to another. Give that website real quick one more time.
Okay, the website is internetlivestats.com. internetlivestats.com.
Got it. I'm Kevin Price. Have a great day. Spend it right here.
You've been listening to The Price of Business with Kevin Price.